Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome, dear students, in our series of lecture regarding leadership theory. In this lecture, we will be studying the 21st century leadership theory. I'm Dr. Ayaz Muhammad Khan, Director, Division of Education, University of Education, Lahore. So, students, we put actually three theories in 21st century leadership theories. The very first one is Greenleaf servant leadership theory. Then we put Gallup and Avolio authentic leadership theories. And the last but not the least, the J.C. Maxwell's leadership thoughts. But in this lecture, we will start from Greenleaf servant leadership theory. This will be our lecture number 10. In 11, we'll be studying authentic leadership style, and in 12, we would be getting over J.C. Maxwell leadership thoughts. So, student, here we go to study the founder or major proponent of servant leadership theories. Actually, Robert Greenleaf is considered as founder of serving leadership. Uh, Actually, servant leadership is a recent theory of leadership that argues that most effective leaders are servants of their people, meaning thereby leaders are actually servants first. So, just get over the definition given by Robert Greenleaf, who says servant leadership always emphasizes, always accepts the person, but something refuses to accept some of the person's effort or performance as good enough. As I told you earlier, that Greenleaf used to believe that the leaders should be a servant first, leading from a desire to better serve others and not to attain more power. The assumption is that if leaders focus on the needs and desires of followers, followers would reciprocate through increased teamwork, deeper engagement, and better performance. So, servant leaders get results for their organization through wholehearted attention to their followers and followers' needs. So, I mean, this was entirely a different leadership theory where we have gone through that relationship oriented leadership, whether they are Ohio states or Michigan states and many more. But here, the crux is that the leader has to be servant first. Unlike many approaches to leadership which offer suggestions on how top level leaders can influence and motivate those further down the hierarchy, servant leadership puts its emphasis on collaboration, trust, empathy, and ethics. These were the four pillars on which they believe that servant leadership is founded on. The theory of servant leadership evolved under the headship of Greenleaf, but uh, I mean that concept was after the Robert Greenleaf in 1970. It was actually developed by Ken Blanchard, Stephen Covey, Peter Senge. These were the people who were considered that who reinforced the servant leadership theory, and the current form which we see actually is initially is a brainchild of Greenleaf, but after that you can see many more experts put their effort as well. When we look at the historical background, it is usually assumed that in 6000 BC, Lao Tzu, the greatest leader, he was in a habit of forgetting himself and attending to the development of others. We have seen many people. It can also be attributed to most of the prophets, or like Greenleaf has pointed out, Jesus Christ. who was, selfless and used to work for others. Then in 1970s, Robert K. Greenleaf, was the person who actually wrote typically about servant leaders, and he said that servant leader is servant first and then leaders. If you want to see the modern day examples, usually it is said Martin Luther King, Qaeda Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who gave his life for his people, and most recent, then we have got in South Africa the Nelson Mandela, who only for the sake of his people, face so many hardships. And in modern day life, Imran Khan is also considered globally, who thinks for the servants first, meaning thereby for the people first, and not only for the people of Pakistan, but people of poor people all across the globe. Dear students, Larry Spears outlined 10 characteristics of servant leaders by analyzing the writings of Greenleaf. Greenleaf didn't mention it, but as a matter of fact, going through all his writing, Larry Spears actually extracted those 10 characteristics which he used to believe could be the part of servant leadership. They are listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasions, conceptualization, farsightedness, stewardships, commitment to the growth of the people, and building a community. In the next slides, we would be studying uh, these characteristics one by one. So Larry pointed out that the first characteristics was listen and understand. And we know that listening is, as a matter of fact, a very critical communication tool. Being leader or manager, you need to be able to listen to what your employees have to say. So you have to be very vigilant in this regard. The more good listener you are, the better leadership ability you would get, especially of servant leaders. Whereas the second important characteristics was empathy, and Smith has described it, the ability to mentally project one's own consciousness into that of another individual. सादा उर्दू में कहते हैं कि दूसरे की जगह अपने आप को रख के देखना कि अगर आप उसकी जगह हो तो कैसे एक्ट करेंगे. तो बड़ा अच्छा दिया जाता है, द मैनेजर नीड टू एम्पथाइज विद द एम्प्लॉयज इन एन अटेम्प्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई दे आर वांटिंग और नीडिंग, उनकी ज़रूरतों का एहसास कर. हीलिंग, to make whole. The manager needs to be able to make the entire department whole, as this will help them to better understand the going on in the department. एक डिपार्टमेंट में जितने भी लोग हैं, they all should act as a whole rather than individuals. Only in this way the organization would go ahead, and this is an important characteristics of servant leadership. Then awareness. Without awareness, we miss leadership opportunities. The manager or leader need to make sure to be aware of what is going on in the department, along with being aware of any sensitive issue that may be arising. So you got to be very well aware what is going on among your employees. Persuasion. The effective servant leader built group consensus through gentle but clear and persistent persuasion, and doesn't exert group compliance through the position of power. Meaning, thereby, maybe you are leader, you have got that legitimate power, but it doesn't mean that you exercise that power. What you have to do, you have to persuade other to work in a team, and that is why the managers or leaders in the departments, they persuade in a way to be able to make decision and not to be authority figure. Conceptualization. Many problems arise in your organization. So as a servant leader, you got to have that ability of conceptualizing or conceiving solutions to the problem. And when the managers or leaders do that, as a matter of fact, they try to reach to the goals of organization pretty much soon. Then foresight, persistence or foresight is a better than average guess about what is going on to help in the future. Meaning thereby, the more the foresightedness you have, the better it would be your in your organization. And for that purpose, you got to keep on developing your skills. So managers and leaders need to be able to see what could be likely outcome for a situation that may have occurred before in past, as well as in as well as anticipate the realities of the present and any unseen consequences of the future. Stewardship. Organizational stewards or trustees are concerned not only for the individual followers within the group but also the organization as a whole and its impact on relationship with all society. So the manager need to hold the main goal of department above their own personal goals. So stewardship is pretty clear that you got to be selfless, though servant leadership on the whole is a selfless sort of thing. Commitment to the growth. I mean, this is not only on the part of the things you are preparing in organization, but as a matter of fact, this refers more to the growth of the people. Last but not the least, community building. The rise of large institution has eroded community, the social pact that reunites individuals in a society. So what managers have to do, that they have to be able to provide a work environment that is full of people that are diverse in nature but all strive to fulfill the same goal. Here is a small YouTube video that gives you 9 behaviors of servant leaders. Within a 3 minute you would listen it, and then you got to compare to the 10 characteristics, how these characteristics are linked with those behaviors. Okay, students. I mean, uh, you might not have heard that leadership style that much because most of the other leadership styles are in vogue. But there is a journal, there are certain journal comments regarding servant leader, though it is popular among theories of leaders, but especially they are popular among Christian leaders who vigorously cite Jesus as the uh, penultimate example of servant leadership. However, its effectiveness in organization is still being debated because there is not that much heavy evidence based on research that we could say that this is what we can say servant leader is all about and these are its boundaries. Many researchers and theorists argue that servant leaders can become as focused on the needs of their followers that the needs of the organization suffer as a result. I mean, when you are always relationship oriented and not task oriented, the same thing that we have gone through in many more behavioral research theories, uh, it can cause a problem because if you are not task oriented, most of the times you will be unable to get maximum for your organization. Here are some of the strengths which I have gathered from Vishnu's, uh, or most of the things are taken from there, but these strengths, uh, it is compatible with the current values and faith based in most people's life. I mean, most of the people by faith, they believe that their leader got to be, or the prophets, they all were, as a matter of fact, servant leaders. Evidence of its success with importance and well-known organization, and there are many organizations where people claim that they are servant leaders. Changes up most conception about leaders. Yes, it has changed a lot because most of the leadership theories focus on the characteristics of leaders uh, in respect of them, leaders. But this was the first that look at leader in the perspective of followers or servants. It is a unique way as it makes the central component of leadership process. It is an influence process, yes, all leaderships are influence process. It moderates of the potential usefulness of leading from this approach, and it has proved to be a suitable instrument for future research on servant leader, but we believe that there is a very less uh, evidence in this regard. Let's talk about some of the criticism on it. Secular and non-faith based groups may not be receptive, yes. I mean, those who are secular or even atheist, they wouldn't go by that thing. Uh, Most of the concepts not well defined, even the 10 characteristics were not given by uh, the major proponent, as a matter of fact. Popularity exceeds any evidence to back up the theory. Uh, I mean, if this is a theory, yes, sometimes one proponent is very popular, concept is very popular, but you got to back your theory with the evidence, and many more like that you can get over. Last but not the least, I mean, everyone, they believe that everyone has the ability to become a servant leader. I mean, always remember that servant leaders are the servant first and then leaders. This is the uh, sequence one has to develop in his personality if he or she wishes to become a servant leader, that one would first be a servant and then a leader. Many well-known industries are supposed to follow this leadership style. It is most of the time assumed that Nestle, Greenleaf, Toro, FedEx, and Marriott and many more follow this sort of leadership style. Thank you very much, my dear student, for listening me so patiently. I would request you to get over it through some books as well, and then you may write down your questions and I'll be giving you the answers.